So you were asking me about Samyaze?
Stemjasi, yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it, but
That doesn't mean Samyaze.
she said at one point you were going to be asked when this stuff goes down on the surface of the earth, you were going to be asked, you were going to be called to do something when that time came. Do you know what that is? Have they told you what that is yet, or is that still going to be something that happens just in the spur of the moment? You'll know what to do, kind of thing.
It's funny, I had forgotten about that I wrote that down, but not only Samyaze, but Saint Germain also said that something will happen in the future and that will require a mass evacuation of the surface, he said, of the surface of the earth. And that's when he took me, I was on board this spaceship up at Lake Louise, and we went up over the North Pole down into the interior of the earth. And he said, this is going to be very important for the future of humanity. And he didn't say when this was going to be. And I don't know, I think I'm just, like I just posted a YouTube video a couple of weeks ago, and it has a picture of a UFO and a lot of people getting beamed up. And a lot of people, it resonated with them that they're feeling that that's going to happen. So I think maybe just talking about it. What I'd like to do is get beamed up in the physical body, like Billy Meyer. It happened to Billy Meyer. A friend of mine was there when it happened. He saw him disappear right in front of him. They were having coffee in the kitchen this is in Switzerland. They were having coffee, sitting around the kitchen table, and Billy said, they just contacted me, and I'm supposed to meet them. I'm going to have a contact. So he walked out the door. Now, it was pouring rain. And Wendell was my friend Wendell was right behind him. And as Wendell Stevens, he was an Air Force person, retired Air Force colonel, lieutenant colonel. And he said, Billy disappeared right in front of him. There was one footstep in the mud in the farmyard, and there was not a second step. You know, he was there and he wasn't there. Then an hour later, they got a phone call to come pick him up. He was in a village about 10 kilometers away. And it was, you know, it's still raining and he was not wet at all. You know, and he said, I just was taken on board the ship. And he met with Samyaze, who was this female cosmonaut. And over a period of about, I don't know, 6 months to a year, he had a lot of personal contact with her. He would be told where to go, an actual ship would land, and either they would sit there and talk or he would be taken up. Then that stopped happening. And then he started channeling messages from her, and I don't have the same faith in those messages. But she showed him future world events, which have already happened, you know. And another thing she said, there's a book you can get that Wendell publishes. I think it's UFO Contact from the Pleiades. You can actually download it free, you know, the PDF. And in there, the Pleiadians say, we will not allow the Earth to destroy itself. That happened to another planet in our solar system, where there's an asteroid belt now.
Right.
And that affects the entire, beyond the solar system. When a planet, when that nuclear energy is used to that degree, it has very far-reaching effects that affect beings in other worlds, you know. So he said, we will not allow that to happen, but we will not stop, we are not allowed to stop you from destroying yourselves. And that's kind of the message that Admiral Byrd got, that he talked about. He was supposed to tell the US military, you must stop developing nuclear weapons or it will be the end of humanity. And of course, they didn't stop. Now, Wendell had a friend who worked on a military base, and a UFO landed, and it was near Palm Springs, California. And Eisenhower was taken on board, and they told the press that he had a dentist appointment, that he had dental problems, and they rushed him to the dentist or something. But he was taken to this Air Force base and taken on board. And they said, you must stop this nuclear proliferation. And they said, we are simultaneously meeting with Khrushchev in Russia, and we are telling him the same thing. And within a year of that, they came up with this nuclear non-proliferation treaty, where United States and Russia agreed not to create any more nuclear warheads. Of course, that has gone by the wayside now. That agreement has been canceled. And Russia has something like 6,000 warheads, and the United States 4,000 or something like that. Now, the ETs have demonstrated they have the ability to shut these missile launches down. There are cases when they were going to do a test of the system, and the whole power went off. And then they saw a disk above the missile silo. So they know they have the ability to do that. But again, they can only do that to a certain extent. So if people are going to play with fire, they're going to get burnt, The point is, we don't have to be there for that. So that's the thing. In your meditation, you ask, is there something I need to clear? Is there anybody I've hurt? And you kind of scan your life and say, try to understand what happened and apologize to them, and then you have to forgive those that have hurt you, so that when the time comes to go up, that you won't have anything holding you back. The inner earth is really not physical in the sense, it's physical, but at a higher frequency. That's why there's an inner sun there, and beautiful nature and things like that. So you'd think you were on the surface of the earth when you're there. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, can a regular person in a physical body go there then, if it's in a higher frequency?
Well, it seems that Admiral Byrd went there.
It does, yeah.
And I don't know how far he went, but he kept going. Well, he went to Antarctica. The further south he went, the ice melted and there was open water, and he saw dinosaurs and trees and things growing. So it was not snow and ice anymore. It was a very temperate climate.
Yeah, and he seemed to have flown right into the hole of the opening.
Well, they took him. They held him like in a tractor beam.
Yeah.
And now he was gone. There were 2 hours he was out of radio contact with the base. And the other question, so, they wanted to know why the radio wasn't working. And of course, he told them his story when he got back. The other thing is that how did he have gas for an extra 2 hours flying? There was no airport where he could have landed for 2 hours,
Yeah.
So if your plane has 3 hours of gas and you're gone for 5 hours, where did I get the extra gas?
Yeah, definitely. So the people that are going to be taken into inner earth, it almost sounds like in the books that they have to completely overcome their lower nature, completely overcome selfishness. It almost sounds like they have to be almost borderline self-masters to make it to this ascension. And that's almost sort of the impression I get. So does this mean anybody who has any sort of desire to indulge in the lower frequencies or the lower chakras is not going to make it? Or
no, it doesn't mean you have to be celibate or not want to eat pizza or whatever.
Right.
But you have to be beyond the desire to take advantage of other people.
Okay.
And egotism, to want to to want to be a big shot, you know what I mean?
Right.
To be worshipped and things like that. All the things that are causing disharmony on the earth, you know, wanting to be special, you know, famous, or, you know, again, to control people or to be violent. You know, obviously they would not have those kind of people there. You know?
Right. Right. Okay.
They didn't give me a date, you know, but it's just, you can just watch what's happening. And I just feel there's a training going on, that those people that are going to be taken up are being trained, feeling getting stronger and stronger. 40 years ago, when Saint Germain told me about this, that something would be happening on the surface of the earth that would require this, I couldn't imagine then what that would be. But see what's happening on the earth now, I can easily imagine.
You said it would require a mass evacuation?
Yeah, that's what he said. Now, you know, there's a beautiful, in the Bible, you mentioned the Bible, I'm not sure what book it is in the New Testament. Jesus is talking about end times.
Yeah.
And they ask him, when will this happen? And he said, when you see the buds on the tree, you know that the fruit is coming.
Is that, it almost seems like it's too late for humanity to sort of self-correct itself and maybe make peace on all of earth and overcome the darkness that's on earth. It almost seems like it's too late for that, or this sort of cataclysm or chaos is almost inevitable, and karma will just come back to the people on the earth that deserve it, and the ones that don't will just be taken to inner earth. Is that kind of how it's going to happen?
Well, it's important for us to still put out as much light as possible. Like, not a day goes by I don't say, you know, I'm saying all the time, may peace prevail on earth. May
Right.
all beings awaken, overcome selfishness, anger, greed. So that's doing good, you know. But I think of this a joke that I was told a long time ago. There was a guy in the Empire State Building in New York. You know, it used to be, you know, it's probably now the tallest building, or it was the tallest building. And he was looking out the window, and a guy fell off, was cleaning windows on the floor above him, fell off the scaffolding. And so this guy leaned out the window and said, "How are you doing?" And the guy, as he was falling, said, "So far, so good." So, you know, it's possible something could have saved him, but so, you know, it doesn't do any good. You don't want to add to the negative energy.
Right.
Important for, you know, there might be people that are wavering between one path and another, to send light out to them. There might be somebody next door contemplating suicide, and you do a meditation on love and compassion, and suddenly they don't know where it came from, but it was your meditation helped them, you know?
Right.
So I don't want to get up there and, you know, look back and say, if you had just a little more effort, you could have saved those 3 people.